Hi, this is Mike, and we're looking at Bitcoin. All right. So, since my last idea, it's made me think about a possibility that I was thinking of last night. The reason for that, the reason that it's all sort of coming together a little bit now, is because of that break at the highs on the other charts. Okay. It didn't happen on this chart, but it happened on the other charts. And I found out after the fact, and we started rolling lower. And then over the last, I don't know, 12, 24 hours, whatever, I started to notice that this is a bit of weakness here going on. And it's made me think, what is this pattern? I mean, if we don't break this low and this idea it turns out to be a dud, what could be the possibility? So I started investigating this yesterday, and the first thing I looked at was back here when we were looking at this thing, right? This thing here. And I noticed something strange. It's a fault of mine, but wave three would be the shortest wave there. And that's a violation of the rules. So at the moment, I've decided to take my profits on this move down and place a long position because my idea of what could be happening here, especially if this low holds, is something that will boggle the mind. And it's the only way I was able to come up with this is by just trying to look past this part at the lows here. Okay, because this part at the lows here has been central to this idea and it hasn't exactly panned too well, in my opinion, right? Profits were made, profits were taken, whatever. Who cares? I'm thinking about analysis here. And another thing I was thinking about, right, is this D wave, because I can't get over the fact that this is a D wave. Okay, so therefore, if that there was not a 5 wave move, and this was a whole D wave, that's an E wave. I think there was a bit of confusion at the highs here. And another thing also I like to note is if you go to the daily chart, right? Now this is a bear market rally, no doubt. But in terms of, pullback, right? I've already drawn this. We haven't even seen a 0.382 pullback. And I'm tipping that we could see that. And I'm just trying to figure out a couple of things that may not be too related right now. And I'll talk about those later because it's not as important. But what happens if we do see a pullback higher? Okay. Like there are these ideas out there that potentially could be mid 30s, 40,000 by mid year before we move lower or whatever. And I was just thinking about that. And I thought, okay, now I think I might have an idea as to what could be going on here. Perhaps, right? Obviously, we've still got a few things to test, but let's just put it out there for now, just because I like to do that. That's why I like waves. But let me just make this clear. This, in my opinion, is a bear market rally. Now, to what extent exactly? Well, that's yet to be seen. So, if I was to formulate a bullish case for this, I think it would start with A, B, C, D, E, and then, if anything, would be looking for potentially a 5 way move, right? And if we were to get a 5 way move, what would that mean? What would that look like, and why? So this here, instead of being, let me just go back to the smaller degree. And this is partly because on other charts the high was broken. On Binance it wasn't, and that kind of got me thinking. Like I got lucky, and I don't like being lucky. It scares me. It makes me think, shit, I think I was wrong. So if something like that happens and we do get a reaction the way we did, and yeah, you made some profits, I think it's important to identify that you got lucky. Okay, but then it's also important to figure out the rest. And I think I might have the solution here. So I'm working through this. Apologies for the time taken to actually bring this out. This is on the fly analysis. I think it's important because we just don't know what could happen from this point, and we need to get this out. So let's just say from a top level view, this whole thing was a 5-wave move, okay, which it seems to have been because it broke the high from the E wave and it was a weak move. But then we saw this pattern. What am I thinking about this pattern? Well, I'll show you. It could be potentially A, B, C, D, E, right? It could be. It could be one of those moves that starts out weak, 5-wave move, pulls back deeply because of it's a 5-wave move, sharp correction, and then blasts off into a 5-wave move. Okay, so why would that happen? Well, what I'm thinking is because we don't have a wave one down the lows here, we don't have a wave one that's long enough, right? We don't really have a long wave one. So one of the rules is when wave one is the shortest, wave five tends to be similar in length to wave three. And I thought about it, I go, shit, wave three is actually this long. And I go, what happens if we see something this long? Could it be happening now? I thought, okay, cool. Well, if it does, where do we measure it from? Well, it would be from the bottom of that low, and it would target potentially like 31,000. Okay. So, okay, cool. So let's start to work on this idea a little bit. Whilst I got you here, you don't have to listen to all this. That's fine. I don't care. I'm just working through it because I like waves and I like to do this. So at the moment we seem to be bouncing a little. This could turn into support, right? This could turn into support and not be, so to confirm this idea, we'd have to break above this level here if that's an E wave, right? Assuming it's an E wave, okay? So that means that potentially this was an E down here before, right? And then whatever happened here at this point in time, forget it. Let's just call it D, right? And that's the C wave up there. That was it. This doesn't count anymore as an E wave, and it doesn't even make sense anymore. And as I speak, we can see this starting to bounce from support, which is crazy. That's such a small stop if you're long. I am. I got long just when I thought about this. I thought, what the hell is going on here? So I'm just going to get rid of all the excess crap, right? And I'm gonna propose this. So let's just propose this without getting too weird with the waves. Let's get straight to it. What if up here this is wave I1? Okay. Let's just say that's going to happen, right? Because I don't want to count for this because I'm pretty sure it's a 5-wave move. It's a weak 5-wave move, right? And I'm not going to bother with counting all the waves. I can go through them again another time. But at the moment, this idea is needs attention quick. So we're just going to do what's needed to process this. Okay, cool. So let's just say we pull a fib on this from the highs. Where do we hit? So we broke just beneath 0.618, right? And it didn't quite reach this 0.786, right? So at this point, potentially, this could be the end of wave four, and wave five will be equally as long as wave three, which is not as long as you think because of the way that I measured it, right? Because remember, most of this move was the D wave, which means that wave four expanded, making you think that it's a complete pattern, making me think it's a complete pattern. Okay, maybe not you if you're long, whatever. Sorry, my bad. I don't care. I go based on my ideas and my, method of thinking and that type of thing. And it took me a long time to actually get this into my head, right? I need to get it right because it has to fit with Arias wave. That's the methodology. So I thought, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 to there, right? And then 5 is coming. And 5 can only start with a wave 1, which is the weak crap that we saw recently. And if that's what it is, then potentially we could be at the start of that move. As much as it's tried to look weak, as much as it's tried to look like wave 5, I think it could be fake, right? And the clue for me was checking out those other charts where it didn't double top so beautifully like this one. It was fake. So the other clue, obviously, as I mentioned before, is that potentially this is A, B, because if you look closely at this wave here, it's not really a 5-wave move, right? It's like it's got a short wave A, but it's really not a 5-wave move. So that can't have been what I thought it was earlier. C, that can be a C for sure, no problem there. D, yeah, that could classify as a D. These small waves are crazy. And then E, look, if this works out, maybe I can redeem myself from my bearishness. But that to me might explain what the hell we're seeing here. And if I have to take that kind of view, I have to take it now before it's too late. Okay, so I'm going to post a chart for this, and hopefully you found this informative. Thank you for watching.